Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Blues Focus TV. Interesting topic to talk about today. I did tell you guys before I was planning to do a video on the retain list as soon as it came out, and it's finally been released. It's interesting reading, that's for sure. I'm quite excited to take you through this. I think there's some ups and downs from it, but mostly ups. I think it would just be good to sort of evaluate some of the players and their time at the club. And as always, I want to hear your thoughts on what you think of the retain list as well. So get your comments going down below, and I'll reply to every single one of them. If there's a question. But yeah, so no, let's just get straight into things. Let's bring up the Blues website. So the club statement reads, thanks to players for their time at the club and all their efforts and whatnot. Then it tells us about the extension options that have been triggered. So Steve Seddon has been offered an extra year, Charlie Lakin, Tate Campbell, and Leo Dos Reis. Really enjoy all four of those players are interesting topics right now. We'll start with Steve Seddon. I think Blues fans always wanted him to break into the first team. I think we'd all been crying out for it for a while. He's finally got that chance properly under Bowyer. Because we've always seen glimpses like, Brentford away, first game of last season. I remember he put that amazing cross into Peds and then the wonder header from outside the box. And then obviously he's had successful loan spells at Wimbledon and Stevenage and Portsmouth, where they all rate him very highly. So no, I'm really, really happy about that one. And hopefully we can see more of him next season. I do think he kind of struggled a bit when he first came in under Lee Bowyer. Kind of adapting to the team. He wasn't uncomfortable, but he certainly wasn't comfortable. But I feel like the more games he played, the more he grew into the team and looked a lot more comfortable and just better on the ball and more effective in his role. Particularly the last couple of games, even when they meant nothing, he still showed the quality he has on the ball. And I think if we persist with Djukovic into next season, I think Seddon and Juki could have a really good partnership because Seddon has a wonderful left foot when it comes to crossing a ball. Next player I'm going to talk about is Charlie Lakin. I'm really, really happy about this one. I won't lie to you guys. When he first started, when he kind of burst onto the scene for Blues under Gary Monk, I wasn't really convinced. I remember Villa away. He's got the ball on the edge of the box and no one's really in front of him. And he's just shouting at him, just shoot. But he doesn't. And then he passes to Mahoney and then Mahoney fires it over the bar and it just horrible flashbacks, really. But, I thought even on his debut, I think he debuted at Sheffield United away. I thought he was okay. And then he made a few home appearances here and there off the bench and looked all right, nothing too spectacular. I feel like he was a different player then, though, to what he is now. I feel like this loan spell has done him the world of good at Ross County. I know they're really, really happy with his performances over there. And obviously he scored a crucial goal for them the other day to keep them in the Scottish Premiership. So fair play to Charlie there. But he just looks a lot more physically built, I think. He seems to be more adapted to first team football now from that loan spell in particular. Seems much more physical. He's become very versatile since he's been at Ross County. He's played in multiple different positions all over the pitch and seems to have done well. He looks more energetic, a bit quicker, and he appears to have a wonderful left foot as well. So hopefully we will see him shooting more in future. But it'd be great to see what he does next season for Blues if he gets the chance. So I am excited for that one. Moving on to Tate Campbell, another youngster that's rated quite highly at Blues in the academy setup. Obviously scored his first professional goal the other day for Bromley. I saw a few pictures on his Instagram and stuff, a picture of Roger Johnson, who obviously works at Bromley as well. So it's good to see, a former Blues man kind of giving that tutorage to Tate, and it's great to see him on the score sheet as well. And hopefully there's more to come from him. Maybe another loan spell next season. or just kind of flirt with the first team here and there. We'll see. It's definitely going to be a big year for him. That's for sure. And then this last one of the four that have had their deals extended by 12 months, Leo Dos Reis. Now, this one, when it first came about, it was like, okay, we've just signed some random Barca wonder kid for the academy. So that was always going to be exciting. But I don't feel like we've really got to see much of him. He is on the bench a lot of the time for the academy. But I tell you what, I am very happy his deal's been extended just after that the under 18s game against Charlton away. Just after that performance off the bench alone, I thought he was fantastic. Looked like a proper player. Don't know whether it's fitness that might be keeping him at the team or just consistency. But you could see there was a proper player there. He came on full of energy, hunger, desire, pace, skill. Didn't really see him shoot too much, but he brought the game to life for Blues. And really brought the under 18s forward. And if they hadn't subbed him on, I don't think we'd have got 2 goals back in that game. And obviously, he also won the penalty as well, which is great to see. But no, I'm really excited to see what he does next year as well, Leo Dos Reis. I think there's a proper player in there, that's for sure. So moving on, we'll look at the 3 players that have been offered deals and awaiting confirmation of whether they accept those deals. And that's Alan Halilovic. Thank God. That's huge for Blues. Kalen Boyd-Muntz, really happy about that one. He's been fantastic in the academy. I know he's been injured for the majority of this season. But even when he's come into the first team set up, like at Bristol away and stuff, he's shown quality. So no, I'm really happy about that one, that we've offered him a deal, because I do think Boyd-Muntz could have a future at the club if he keeps working the way he is. He's been scoring plenty of goals since he's come back into the under 23s after injury. So it's exciting times for him. And then Ryan Stirk, I'm really happy about that one yet again. You know, he's been involved heavily with the first team towards the end of the season. He's always been rated highly at the academy, and people were surprised that it's taken him this long to get the first team call up. But I thought he was brilliant, especially at Blackburn away. You know, he was really pulling the strings in midfield at times. Even against Cardiff, I thought he was quite, composed, good on the ball. But he's got a bit about him, it's not just going forward. He's good defensively as well. He's just quite a good, well-rounded midfielder with a good work rate. So I'm excited to see what's next for him. Obviously, he's a Wales youth international as well, so he's rated highly there too. So really happy about those 2 young players in particular. But Halilovic is the big one. Let's be honest. We all want Halilovic to stay. He's really shown glimpses towards the end of the season of what he can offer. I think if we can keep him fit next season, he could be crucial for Blues, and I do believe he could really take us far. And he seems to work well under Bowyer as well. Just an all-round good player. I feel like you can afford to have those flair players when you've got so many hard-working players in the squad. And in fairness, that's not saying he's not a hard-working player, because I actually think he's got a great work rate. Especially against Derby, he was getting back whenever he could to help defend, which I think is very different to some of the flair players we've sort of had over recent years, and some of those sort of technical players like Hotter and stuff, who work rate was all right, but didn't defend too much. And I think it's great to see that Halilovic does have a good defensive work rate as well as a fantastic attacking work rate. And I really feel there's more to come from him in a blue shirt. It's just keeping him fit. That's the main priority for next season, if he signs the contract, that is. Come on, Alan, please sign. So that brings us on nicely to the 5 of the club's under 18s have been offered their first professional contracts. That's Alfie Chang, Amari Miller, Marcel Oakley, Remy Walker, and Josh Williams. They've all impressed over their 2-year scholarship spell. And have been rewarded with professional contracts, which is always great to see. You always want to see more youth players coming through and earning professional contracts. It's always a positive. I don't know too much about Alfie Chang. I have faith in the club that he's a good player. Obviously, he won't be earning the contract if he wasn't. I think I've seen brief glimpses of him when I've watched some of the youth games, but I couldn't give you too much information. Amari Miller, we all know what he's capable of, and since he's been brought into the first team towards the back end of the season, he's been another player that's really looked promising. Very similar to Odin Bailey, but maybe a bit more skillful on the ball. Maybe not as composed or just technically gifted, but I do feel he's just got a bit more skill about him, and a good work rate too, and very kind of naturally slotted into first team football, which a lot of young players actually struggle to do because, the physical levels and stuff. But he seemed to really adjust to it very well. And I think he's got a bright future at Blues. So I look forward to seeing more from him. Marcel Oakley, really happy about that one. I thought he was fantastic for the under 18s the other day. Looks like a really promising defender. Haven't seen too much of Remy Walker, but I've heard good things. And Josh Williams looks a decent, tidy player from the snippets I've seen, and I'm glad that he's also been offered a new deal. Right, so on to the 13 players that Blues have released. 13, that's mad. I am sad about a couple of these, but I can understand why their time at the club has come to an end, unfortunately. So we'll start with Geraldo Bajrami. I think he's really unlucky, to be honest. I think he's one of the few that I was a bit disappointed to see go. I do think he's coming to that point now in his career where he needs first team football. And honestly, I think he'd slot into most League Two sides. Fantastic professional. And I think he can really, really go far. He's been fantastic for the Albanian national side as well. And he's been a key part for Blues youth teams over the last couple of years. And I remember he was all right against West Brom at home as well when he started that game. Proper thrown in the deep end, but I thought he was, he did the best he could have. And I was impressed, to be honest. But no, it's a shame to see him go, but I wish him all the best. And I really think he could go far. And we could see him in the Championship again one day with another club. But for now, I really think he could do well in League Two and slot into most sides. Ryan Burke, another player who from what I've seen of him at youth level, I think he's been quite impressive. And then obviously when he came on against Stoke last season, I thought he looked all right. Also, from the snippets I saw of him when he was on loan at Yeovil, I thought he looked okay. But I think it's just one of those that's good player, but it just never seemed like he was going to kind of properly break in and take the left back role by storm when he's got quite a bit of competition at fullback. But no, I wish him all the best, and I do feel like he could another player that could maybe start at like League Two or National League level and build from there and possibly work his way back up to the Championship again one day. Just needs a bit more experience, I think. Same for Jack Concannon. He's always shown glimpses of quite a quality, tidy number 10 midfielder. I remember when he started up top for Blues once last season. Not much happened really in that game. It was a tough one for him. That's when we were lacking really any forwards due to injury. But no, I think he's another player that can go far. I think like a League Two move would be good for him. I could see him building his career slowly. But it's another one that's kind of up in the air, really. I do think the potential's there. It's just whether he gets the right move or not. Then we're moving on to Dan Crowley, who we all know what Dan Crowley's capable of. He's a fantastic player on his day. I don't know why it hasn't worked out for him at Blues. He just doesn't. I don't want to speculate and say he hasn't got on with managers, but he just hasn't been in the favour of the managers that have been at Blues. Obviously, he's not had a chance with Bo yet. I was hoping that we'd extend his deal by a year and he'd get a fair shot under Lee Bowyer, but I do think we already have quite a few attacking midfielders anyway. And I feel that he will have probably wanted the move out of the club anyway, because it's just not really worked out for him, unfortunately. But wouldn't surprise me if he went back to Hull or if he went somewhere like Coventry, because he is a Cov lad. But I do think there'll be a few Championship teams sniffing around for him, to be honest, or top end League One, that's for sure. But no, I wish him all the best. And there's a proper player in there, and fair play to anyone who, swoops him up, because he's a fantastic player. And I feel like he could improve any team. It's just consistency that I think lacks a little bit. But he can certainly turn a game on his head, like Middlesbrough at home. I thought he was fantastic in that game. And even Blackburn at home last season as well. But Wish Dan all the best, and I do feel like he can still quite go far in the Championship. Just needs to find the right club, I think. Josh Cogley, really impressed with him this season. I think he's unlucky not to get a new deal, but there's so much competition at fullback. And I think considering his age now, I think he's like 24, 25. I think he wants regular first team football, and I think he could get into quite a few League One sides. So I wish him all the best. And, I do think that any team that gets Josh will be lucky to have him, because he is a fantastic professional. And I think he could be back in the Championship again one day. We'll see. Miguel Fernandez, I feel like he's always, impressed statistically at youth level. We've always kind of wanted to see him make that first team step, but he just hasn't. I don't think he seems to have done okay out on loan in Spain, but it's just not enough, unfortunately. But another decent youth player who could maybe slot in well at a decent team abroad or something. But wish him all the best anyway. Ivan Guzman, never saw anything of him really. I think that was a very random, pointless signing. But he seems to be doing well back at Cornella again, so fair play to him. Same for Agus Medina. In fairness, whenever Medina put on a blue shirt, I do think he gave it his all. He's just not as technically gifted or just naturally gifted as some of the other players we have in the squad, and wasn't quite Championship level. I think he was League One level, definitely, but he just wasn't quite the standard that we need at Blues right now. But I think he'll continue shining at Cornella because he is a good professional and seemed like a proper nice guy. Romeo Hutton, I remember watching him in the playoff against Leeds a few years ago. I thought he was fantastic. He seems to have done okay at Stevenage as well. I know he's been in and out at the side over there because he's got a bit of competition, but Romeo Hutton's definitely got a future ahead of him. I do think it will start at League Two level for him, but he's got enough natural talent to really progress. I think it's just another player that just needs to find the right move. But there's certainly a player there. This next one, I am gutted about though. Joe Redmond, what a professional. Has been fantastic for the under-23s this season, scoring for fun as well from centre-back, and he's the under-23s captain. I am really surprised we've released him, I won't lie. I thought he'd get an extension, maybe a look in at the first team, because I do think he's got the capability to do that. I know he had a loan spell over in Ireland, but I don't think that worked out for him, unfortunately. But a true professional, I do think he's got a bright future ahead of him. And I think he could do well in the lower leagues of English football in League One or League Two. Again, just needs to find the right move. But I think anyone who gets Joe is lucky to have him because he's a proper professional and a true captain in the making as well, that's for sure. And a goal-scoring centre-back. Can't beat that, really, can you? Jaden Reed, another young attacker that's just not really worked out, unfortunately. Showed decent glimpses when he broke into the first team at times, but unfortunately it's just not happened for him. And then he wasn't utilised in his loan spell away at Walsall or Barrow. And that's a shame as well, but I wish him all the best in the future, and we'll see where he goes. Bernard Son, the joke signing, no idea why that happened, but I think we all wanted to see Bernard Son in the first team at some point, but it just didn't happen, unfortunately. Will always be a cult hero. Just didn't quite make a professional appearance, unfortunately. But I wish him all the best in whatever he moves on to next. And then I feel like the one that would definitely bring out a few tears would be John Terrell's second spell at the club not working out, as he's now been released. I think we all expected this one. Since Lebo, you did confirm he's gone back to Spain. Really sad this one hasn't worked out. I do feel it's down to injury. There were times in the season where he was fit, but just wasn't picked. But a large portion of the season he was unfortunately injured. And I feel like that's why his second stint at Blues just hasn't worked. But no, no one will forget how good he was in the 15-16 season under Rowett. And we also won't forget Reading away this season, how fantastic he was there as well. 2 great goals. And I feel like he'll always be loved by Blues fans. It's just a shame it hasn't worked out for him, unfortunately. But I do wish him all the best. wherever he goes off to next, whether that be in Spain or England. And that's every player really, guys. Every player that's been released. I'll read out to you all the players that are still under contract and are going into the next season. That's Neil Etheridge, Prieto, Truman, G-Cock, Maxime Collin, Harley Dean, George Friend, Pedersen, Mark Roberts, Mitchell Roberts, Nico Gordon, Gary Gardner, Adam Clayton, Ivan Sunjic, Mikel San Jose, Kane Thompson, Summers, Jeremy Bella, Ivan Sanchez, Simmons, Soldevilla, Fran Villalba, Kyle Hurst, Odin Bailey, Josh Andrews, Scott Hogan, Lucas Djukovic, Sam Cosgrove, Jonathan Lico, and Aidan George. So quite a big squad there. I feel like we'll see a few ins and outs from that squad definitely over the coming weeks and months, which will certainly be interesting. But we'll see, and I'll make sure I keep you up to date with any content I possibly can. I'll probably have another transfer rumor roundup video coming soon because obviously we've been linked to Joe Pigott at AFC Wimbledon. A fantastic striker and could be a good addition for Blues on a free. I'll be very happy with that. And that's been reported by the Birmingham Mail. So we'll cover that at some point, just maybe waiting for one or two more targets before I do another transfer video. But we'll see. We shall see. I think two players in that, that full squad that I'm interested to see what happens to would be Fran Villalba. If Almeria get promoted, then they have an obligation to buy him. But if they don't get promoted, then Villalba's back at Blues again. I do think we'll obviously try to look to probably get him out of the club. He's probably a high earner, I imagine. But yeah, I mean, if he wanted a second stint or a second chance, then I doubt Bowyer would be against that. I feel like he's a fair man and would give anybody a chance if they ask for it and, earns it properly. And then the next player I'm interested to see what happens with next season is Odin Bailey. I really think this could be this season coming up, could be the season for him to break into this Blues squad. Just get a few more regular championship games under his belt because there is a player in there. We've all seen it. I feel like he's capable at this level and hopefully he shows that next season. My fingers are crossed for him. Hopefully Odin sparkles next season under Bowyer, but we shall see. Anyway, guys, that's everything from me, really. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please drop a like. Leave your comments down below on what your thoughts are on the retain list. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, whether that be a transfer video or whatnot. We do have another 5 yards video coming out soon where I look at midfielders that Blues could possibly look at. So a big thank you to 5 yards for yet another sponsored video as well. But yeah, if you're feeling kind, guys, also check out the Patreon link down below. But other than that, I will see you in the next video. Keep right on.